Today we're here to talk about the man, the myth, the legend, the most googled man on the planet, Andrew Tate and his brother Tristen. Now, through my hiatus from YouTube, Andrew Tate has absolutely blown up, and there's what is known as a lot of misinformation out there. And from what I can gather, misinformation seems to be a new phrase that's been invented for anybody that has a factually correct opinion that goes against what the government, the media and social media want you to believe. So today what I wanted to do is just talk about my experiences actually knowing the person, okay? How I know him, what he's like as an actual human being rather than what everybody wants you to believe. I have no vested interest in saying anything good about Andrew, saying anything bad about Andrew. This is literally just my raw, unedited personal thoughts from knowing the bloke. And let it be known, this is not a decision to make this video based on growing my YouTube channel. I'm pretty sure it's going to have the exact opposite. I asked Google AI, give me a good title for this video basically, and I can read you what it told me. I can't help with that. Creating a YouTube video about Andrew Tate could potentially promote harmful and misogynistic views. His content has been widely criticised for promoting harmful stereotypes and toxic masculinity. And then it goes on to tell me in lots more detail why Andrew Tate is evil and why making an Andrew Tate video would be harmful for my YouTube channel. So let's start at the beginning. How do I know the Tate brothers? Well, I used to train with them at Storm Gym in Luton from roughly 2010 to 2013. So roughly around the same time I started this YouTube channel, I actually knew the Tate brothers. We're not friends, we're more acquaintances. I'm pretty sure if I saw them, you walk past them on the street today, maybe Andrew would recognise me just because of the person he is. Tristen probably wouldn't. But an interesting fact, I just started an important new sort of career step, new job, new business, and Tristen Tate busted my nose and gave me 2 black eyes and a swollen nose on my second day of the job. So I'm meeting all of the bosses, you know, doing introductions. You know what it's like starting a new job. Well, imagine that with 2 black eyes and a swollen nose. I look like a right thug. So that wasn't the best first impression that I made at TUI, which is a holiday company based in Luton. But yeah, that's how I know the Tate brothers. Trained under Amir Sabasic, who, side note, was a complete nutcase. Personally, not a huge fan of the way he would train and run classes, but obviously he's had massive success with the Tate brothers, so who am I to criticise? Moving on to the juicy bit, the bit you want to really get stuck into. What is Andrew Tate actually like in real life? Now, I appreciate this is some time ago and people evolve and move on, but the core of his personality I feel shone through and won't have changed and hasn't changed from what I've seen online. So the first thing that strikes you online and meeting the man in person, he's incredibly intelligent. You know, dare I say, even more intelligent than Steve Cowclash. And that's saying something. But you know, all jokes aside, very, very intelligent bloke. But what really shines through is his kindness, his warmth, and his caring demeanour. You know, and that sounds strange because obviously we're in a kickboxing environment, very competitive and potentially violent environment. But he has the kind of warmth that just radiates naturally from him. He is a good guy through and through, and I will stand by that until the day I die. You know, knowing that person, you know, in real life rather than just what people are saying about him on the internet. He's one of the kindest, warmest human beings that you'll ever have the pleasure of meeting. Yeah, and that's a fact. I've got no reason to say that if I don't believe it. I'm probably never going to see the bloke again. He probably, he's definitely moved on with his life since I've seen him. So there's no incentive for me to say anything nice about the bloke. But he is a lovely, warm, caring, intelligent human being. You know, one of the nicest blokes I've ever met. Was he self-confident? Yes, hell yes. He was oozing self-confidence even back then. Not arrogant though. So there's a difference between self-confidence and arrogance. He was highly self-confident. A lot of self-belief, self-discipline, everything, you know, that really that makes a man. Andrew Tate had it in spades, but he was not arrogant. And as I say, that comes back to him being a caring and intelligent human being. And I think what you see of him online is obviously a magnification of his online persona, you know. But really, when you listen to what he's saying properly and in context, you can get that across, that he's a nice bloke. Okay, and that's all I really have to say on the matter of his personality and his character. But let's move on to Tristen, because I've got a couple of additional thoughts when it comes to Tristen. So Tristen, and I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt here, because he was pretty young when I knew him. So we're going back to say 2010, which I think would have put him roughly around 2021 off the top of my head. He was a big lad. Even back then he was big. I know what you're thinking as well. Steve Calclash, you're 6'3", 113 kilos of muscle, steel and sex appeal. Surely he couldn't be bigger than you. He was even bigger than Steve Calclash. You know, maybe doesn't have to get the wide angle lens out for his YouTube videos, but he was very big. He was bigger than me. He was louder than Andrew. He was more brash than Andrew, and at the time I feel like he was on the verge of being arrogant. But listen, when you've got all God's given tools to your, you know, in your arsenal, he was big, he was athletic, he was strong, and his mouth was big enough to back all of that up. But it was a very big mouth that he had on him, and that, to be perfectly honest, rubbed me up the wrong way. I had no problem with him busting up my nose. These things happen. It's good sparring and hard sparring, and that's what I enjoy to do, or enjoyed to do, when I was young enough to handle it. But yeah, Tristen, from what I can see online, has evolved actually into a well-rounded, articulate gentleman, and actually sort of lives now under Andrew's shadow, which it wasn't apparent when I knew them. The two of them were, you know, almost equal, and his size and his, you know, his mouth size and his physical size, you would have thought he was the older brother back then, you know, and that's just the truth. Andrew was confident in his abilities, but he was more softly spoken, articulate, confident, assertive, but not arrogant, whereas Tristen was, the louder, had a bit of a bigger mouth, but ultimately still a good person underneath all of that. But if you can imagine a 20-year-old lad in a huge frame with all the strength and skills and all the rest of it, he was happy to let you know, he was the big man, and I've got no problem with that. And from what I can see, he's evolved into a better person. But like I say, he did wind me up a bit. We're going to say that. He did wind me up a bit, and if you'd have asked me back then, I probably would have gone out for a drink with Andrew, no questions asked, fantastic bloke. But I probably would have given Tristen a wide berth, just because he used to get on my nerves. But I've changed my opinion of him. I've seen him mature, online, and I can see the character he's become. So yeah, not so much of a problem with him now. And I'm sure if I met him in real life, I'd like to have the opportunity to, see if I could bust his nose now that we're both somewhat older. But Tristen, if you're watching, and then. So that was when I did know them, and coming from the perspective of, knowing them in real life, and when they had nothing other than, their God's given talents, to what they've become now, controversial online personalities. What do I think of their thoughts and opinions? I think I can't vouch for everything they've said online. Obviously, they've said lots of things on lots of different forums, but their overall message, one of positivity, strength, empowerment for men, I think is incredibly important. I don't agree that they promote toxic masculinity. For me, toxic masculinity is, when you walk past a a woman walks past a whole gaggle of scaffolders, for example, and they start leering and shouting and making the woman uncomfortable. That's not okay. That's toxic masculinity. And what I see, Andrew Tate does not support or promote that. Andrew Tate supports and promotes a message of self-confidence, self-discipline, what's the word, self-sufficiency in men. So talents and that are just being stomped out, as far as I can see, in men in general across the globe. He goes against the grain. He speaks his mind, and he has a message that is contrary to the government, the media, and pretty much most people in the public forum. He has an opinion contrary to that. And again, I respect him for that, and I respect him for going out there and giving his opinion, knowing the consequences of doing so. And coming back to the point that he is a kind, caring and understanding individual, I truly believe that he is out there spreading this message to his own detriment to help men all around the world. And I have nothing but respect for him doing that. And you can probably see where this is going, but my thoughts on their current situation, I believe their current situation is completely and utterly disgusting. I think it goes against, freedom of speech, our freedoms in general, our way of living, our way of life. And I believe that everybody, whether you like the man or you like the brothers or you dislike them, you should be terrified by what they're going through, the complete lack of evidence, the made up charges, everything, and I'm telling you from someone that knows them that these charges are completely heinous. There is no way on earth that Andrew Tate, the man that I know, would be capable of doing even a tiny fraction of what they've accused him of. There's no evidence. There doesn't appear to be any case. He's a political prisoner against the government, the powers that be, and the people pulling the strings. And I truly think that that's a shame. And it breaks my heart to not see more people coming out in support of him. I've been waffling on for quite a long time about the Tate brothers now, but I wanted to get out there, wanted to get out off my chest. I'm sure it's not going to do me any favours by coming out here and talking about Andrew and Tristen. It's certainly not going to do me any favours by saying positive things about them, but I feel like it needs to be heard from people that actually know them or have known them, to give character statements, character testimonials on the men that they are, rather than the men that that the media wants you to think they are. Okay? That's it for today, guys. The Biggest Arms on YouTube will be back soon. You know what to do by now. Keep it rolling.